Hi everyone, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Becky Sechere. I hope you're doing well. So I'm a UK registered nurse and I do videos about anything you need to know if you want to relocate to UK as a nurse, as a healthcare assistant or a skilled worker. So one of my subscribers have asked me to do a video about skilled worker dependent visa application guide. So I'm going to give you all the information you need to know if you're still overseas or you are here and you're planning to bring over your dependents. I'm going to be talking about that. So if you like to know more, why not watch the video to the end? Hello, you're welcome back to this video. So if this is the first time you've come across my channel, you're very welcome. Thank you for clicking on my video. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please remember to like, subscribe and share. And if you're already a subscriber and you've returned to watch more videos, thank you so much. So let's go straight in the video. So before you start applying for your child or dependent, so in this case I'm talking about a child because one of my viewers or subscribers a few weeks ago have asked me to do this video. So this is for you. I can't remember your name, but I know you know who you are. So basically, before you start the application process, you need to make sure you have the details of the legal guardian or parent at hand. So what are those details? One of them is the passport details. Secondly, you need to have the certificate of sponsorship or COS details, including their sponsor license number or reference number. You need those at hand before you start the application process. So we're talking about skilled worker dependent visa. So who is a skilled worker? So basically, a skilled worker is an individual who has a job offer to work in the UK in an eligible role from someone who is an approved UK sponsor, not from anybody, but the person should be an approved UK sponsor. And who is a dependent? So a dependent of a skilled worker is either the spouse, the partner, or their children or child. That is a dependent. So now, the dependent spouse must or partner must be 18 years at the date of the application. So you can't bring someone who is younger than 18 to say this is my spouse or partner. They should be 18 years on the date from the application. That is either you're married to them or you are in a civil partnership or you have lived together for at least 2 years. So you need to prove that you've lived together for at least 2 years before the date of the application. So let's go over again. They must be 18 years of age on the date of application, or and married or in a civil partnership, or have lived together for at least 2 years before the date of application. There is a bit of a caveat to that. So for example, if you can prove that you're living apart because of work commitment, maybe a spouse is living in one city, the other in the other city, because of the type of job they do, or because they have a caring responsibility, then that may be considered. However, you need to make sure you have evidence to prove that this is why you're living apart, and to also be able to prove your relationship. That is very important. You must also demonstrate that you are in a genuine relationship, not a fake relationship, not a dodgy relationship. You should be able to demonstrate that you have been in a genuine relationship with each other and that you intend to live together with a skilled worker during your stay in the UK. And if the genuineness of your relationship is doubted, you will or may be invited to attend an interview. They want to probe more to find out whether you are telling the truth or you are telling a bit of a fib or a lie. Anyway, let's talk about dependent children. They must actually be under the age of 18. So you can't bring a child who is 18 or over. They must be under the age of 18 at the first application. If they are over 16, they must not be leading an independent life. So they shouldn't be on their own. So what does that mean? For example, not living with a skilled worker. So maybe that person is living on their own, they're in their own flat, they're having their own independent life. They must not be having that. And also they must not be financially independent. So you should show that they are still dependent on yourself, and they must not be married or in a civil partnership. So that's about the children. If the child is over 18 at the time of the application, or at the time they're eligible for an extension, not the application, an extension, that is not a problem. Because in that situation, that is if they have been living with a skilled worker. So in that situation, let's say I've come to the UK with my child who was 15 years or 16 or 14 years old, and I'm due to extend my visa, and my child is 18 years old. It doesn't affect that child because the child has already been living with me in the UK, and we're just extending our visa. So I don't think that is a problem. Because they've been living with you over the period. And also the child's, another thing about the child is that the child's other parent must also be applying at the same time, or already have permission to remain in the UK, but not on a visiting visa. I hope you understand that. Also, there are exceptions to the child's situation. So we know the child shouldn't be 18, should be under 18, and shouldn't be living an independent life at the time of application. And also the child's other parent must be applying at the same time, or they're already in the UK, which means but not on a visitor's visa. The exceptions to this clause or guide or detail is the fact that either the skilled worker, if you can prove that you are the only surviving parent. So let's say, for example, you are a widow or a widower or a single parent. If you are the only surviving parent, if you can prove that, then that's fine. Or the other parent is a British citizen or has indefinite leave to remain and is a resident in the UK, that's fine. Or the skilled worker has the sole responsibility for the child. So you have to be able to prove that you have the sole responsibility of this child. And how do you prove that? This can be a bit difficult to prove. However, if you can prove that there are serious compelling reasons in favor of granting a child a permission to live with you, that's fine. So how do you prove being a sole responsible person for this child? Either, for example, having a continuing direction or control in respect of either making important decisions about your child, and also about the child's upbringing or about the child's education or medical care. So if you're the main person who makes decisions about the upbringing and medical care or anything, you are the child's main next of kin. Maybe the father has nothing to do with the child, you are the main person. Then if you can prove that, that is fine. Sometimes you may be required to bring a letter from a lawyer to prove your divorce letters, or a letter from the other parent who probably is not doing anything. If you're not sure about that, it will be important for you to speak to an immigration lawyer. I'm not one. I'm a nurse by profession. I'm just helping from the information I found myself. So you can find the same information on the internet. You must also show there is a suitable care and accommodation for the child in the UK that meets the relevant UK regulations and legislation. So if you're bringing your child, make sure you have the required care and accommodation, suitable accommodation for the child. Now, let's talk about funds that you need. So money, money, money. So basically, you need to be able to have certain amount of money in your account to show that you can support them, or they should have that amount of money in their account. Let's say for your partner, the amount should be in the account for at least 28 days, or let's say at least 31 days within your application period. So let's say, or it says you must show that for at least 28 days, ending within 31 days of the application. You must have held that amount of funds or money in your account or his account. So for a dependent partner, so for a spouse, wife or husband, you need to show you have about £285 in your account or in his account before his application, at least for within 1 month. For the first child, if you're bringing 2 children, let's say for the first child, you need to show you have about £315 for that first dependent child, and a subsequent child you should have at least about £200 to show that you have this amount to support them, or they have this amount to support themselves when they come to the UK. So let's say for a partner or a spouse and 2 children, approximately you need about £800 in your account to show you can support them, or in his account or her account to show they can support themselves when they come to the UK. If the skilled worker, or you who is the skilled worker, let's say a nurse or healthcare assistant, is applying at the same time, you also need to have at least £1,270 in your account to show that you are able to support yourself financially and you're not going to be depending or having public funds in the UK, because the visa you get as a skilled worker does not forbids you from, or it says no recourse to public funds. So you cannot get any benefits or public funds in the UK. So the money must be held, or the money must be held in the skilled workers account or the dependent. So I've talked about that already. Alternatively, if your employer or sponsor has written or clarified that they are going to be, or certified that they're going to be supporting you whilst you're in the UK to maintain, well, with maintenance and accommodation for the first month of your stay in the UK. If they certify they are going to do that, then you don't need to show all that money. But if they haven't, then you need to show that money. Also, let's look at the visa cost. So with the visa cost, it depends on how many years visa you're being given or offered. So up to 3 years, if you're applying from outside of the UK, up to 3 years, you need £610. And then if you're going to be applying for over 3 years, it's £1,200. That's quite a lot of money. Anyway, if you're applying from within the UK for up to 3 years, you're paying about £704. And if you're applying for over 3 years, it's about £1,408. Quite expensive. Now, if the skilled worker is on the shortage occupation list, so let's say you're a nurse, you're a healthcare assistant, radiographer, doctor, and the rest, or any other occupations on the shortage occupation list, then the fee is actually reduced to £464 for up to 3 years and £928 for over 3 years. You will also need to pay immigration surcharge, which allows you to access NHS. If you're sick and you're in the UK, you have to be paying the immigration surcharge. I've only just realized it's about £625 per year. That's quite a lot as well. Anyway, during the COVID time, I remember that was waived for overseas healthcare workers. I do not know if they are still paying that, but it's on the government website. So when the time comes when you're applying, I'm sure you would get to know whether you still have to pay or not. How long does the visa take? So if you're applying for dependent visa, for applicants who are applying from overseas, it's about 3 weeks from the date of providing your biometric information. But if you're applying from within the UK, it can take you up to 8 weeks. So basically, I think this is just a general guide about the dependent visa application. If you want to do that for your child or for your spouse, you just have to make sure you have all the documents to prove. If you say you're bringing your child, you have to show birth certificates and all other documentation to show that you are really the parent of that child. Also, you have to bear in mind, if you're applying the first time you're applying to come to the UK, you will be required to write the names of your children. So if maybe the time comes for you to bring your dependent and you remember that, oh, and now I've adopted my auntie's child, I want to bring it, and you have not already put that person's name on your initial application, I am sorry, you would not be granted, unless of course you've done the adoption after your application or whatever. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. As usual, remember to like, subscribe and share as well. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you again later. Bye bye.